Several Oklahoma communities are recovering from tornado damage suffered in the last couple of weeks. Moore was the hardest hit and has the longest road back. The city of Joplin, Missouri gives Moore residents a glimpse of what's ahead. Like in Moore, an EF5 tornado left a long path of destruction through Joplin on May 22, 2011. It was one of the deadliest tornadoes in U.S. history, and 2 years later, the recovery continues. We went to Joplin to learn what Oklahomans displaced by massive tornadoes can expect as they rebuild.
Images of the powerful EF5 tornado that bore down on Moore are frighteningly reminiscent of what happened in Joplin, Missouri just 2 years ago.
This is like worse than Joplin.
I know it is.
You know, we see a lot of the video of the one that hit down in Oklahoma and Moore, and I know exactly what it's like to be in the middle of it, and I know exactly what some of those people are dealing with.
Aaron Haley and his wife Ashley arrived at their home 20 minutes after the tornado demolished it. Aaron rescued a flag from their basement and hung it on what was left of a tree to give neighbors hope.
We've survived a lot of things, you know, people have survived this. You know, we had a lot of people come out that were okay.
Just blocks away, Joplin's Mercy Hospital took a direct hit.
You look out there and say, I can't fix this. It's too broken, I can't fix this, but you can. It's just a little piece at a time.
Today, Robin Harden has a roof over her head, but on May 22nd, 2011, she didn't.
I still seek emotional help for the tornado in Moore has stirred up other, feelings in those of us who have gone through it.
Harden's house was demolished as she and her husband took shelter in the basement of their home. When they emerged, her car was up in a tree. Her husband's vehicle was also destroyed. Those in the neighborhood uttered the same phrase heard in Moore now. It looked like a nuclear bomb went off. Today, Robin has this advice for Moore residents.
Don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to take help.
Joplin City Manager Mark Rohr has led his city through recovery and reconstruction with the help of volunteers from all over the country.
To date, we've had in excess of 176,000 registered volunteers that have come to Joplin, and that exceeds over 1.1 million man-hours.
This memorial in Cunningham Park is dedicated to all the volunteers. A fountain is dedicated to those who lost their lives.
Cunningham Park is hallowed ground. It's where, right over here is where the storm went from an EF4 to an EF5. By the time we got in Cunningham Park, it was an EF5, and it just leveled everything in the park and adjoining the park.
Before the tornado, the park had a canopy of mature trees. Now young trees are growing, 161 of them, the exact number of the lives lost in Joplin. While many still grieve, people are rebuilding their lives.
These people both lost children in the storm, and this is their shared garden they have here.
In the past 2 years, Joplin has made remarkable progress.
We had 7,500 homes that were impacted by the storm, 3,500 destroyed. And at this point in time, we have 84% of those that have either been repaired, rebuilt, or have plans pulled at the building department to do so. And we had about 550 businesses that were impacted by the storm, and 90% of those are either rebuilt and up and running or are on the verge of being in a position to open the doors.
And more often than not, the new houses have storm shelters. 10 schools were either damaged or demolished. Construction of new school buildings like the high school are still underway. So is the construction of the new Mercy Hospital. The old one used to stand on this green space. Like the Moore Medical Center, it was in the direct path of the tornado.
Just as we were going in the door with our patient, they said, execute condition gray. And she said it 3 times.
Emergency room nurse Tracy Hernandez and another nurse braced for what was very soon to come.
I said, throw me a sheet, and we covered up our patient. And the lights kind of flickered, and then it just blew. It just like the wind was sucked out of your lungs.
This hospital security video was released to the public last year. No one was in the waiting room. If they had been, they wouldn't have survived. Since the tornado, Mercy nurses, doctors, and employees have changed locations several times. There was a community shelter, then a tent MASH unit, and then came the trailers. Within 90 days, this temporary hospital was built, and it is where they are today.
You're in shock for the longest time, and you don't know when you're exhausted. You get numb after a while, and you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you have to know when to say, I need help. I mean, there's people out there that, are putting out their hands and hearts and whatever they have to help, and you need to take that.
The new Mercy Hospital will be completed in March of 2015. It will be one of the most structurally secure hospitals in the nation. Glass windows in critical areas like operating rooms will withstand 250-mile-per-hour winds.
The rest of the glass in the buildings will all be laminated, so you won't have flying shards, and it won't actually come apart. It's a safety factor, and all the glass is tempered, so when it does break, it breaks into little tiny pieces like popcorn versus shards.
Dan O'Connor is the senior project manager with Mercy Healthcare. He says stairwells are internal to the structure and will be encased with 6-inch precast concrete. And unlike what happened at the old hospital, this one should never lose power or the ability to serve patients.
Our central utility plant, which is where the heart of the hospital is, that's the generators, the main switchgear, chillers, and cooling towers. That's all partially buried in a hillside and built out of concrete or CMU block.
In the past 2 years, City Manager Mark Rohr says FEMA has done an exceptional job and has been with Joplin residents every step of the way. When complete, FEMA expects it will have spent $150 million to permanently repair or replace public buildings and infrastructure damaged or destroyed by the tornado. And through it all, people in Joplin have been patient and resilient.
Everything does get better. It's day by day, God does have a plan, and you will recover and you will live happily ever after, like that little sign we found in the Revel.
The city of Joplin can't estimate when the recovery will be complete, but they are living up to this goal.
We set a goal early on to build back bigger and better than we were before the storm. So I think a mindset in the community is really important. And it was important in Joplin, and maybe important in Moore also, that they just need to have a positive attitude.